Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third episode of the Wine Wizzo show. Today I've got a good friend of mine, Mr. Jerrold Khoo, who is the head bar manager at Jigger Pony, which is one of my absolute favorite bars in Singapore. If you like whiskey, this is the place to go to. And if you like good drinks, this is the man to go look for. So Jigger Pony's been winning a number of awards. They've been nominated this year for Best Hospitality Team. And Jerrold is one of the big key elements of what makes a great bartending team. So I'll leave it to Jerrold. So Jerrold, want to say hi to the audience?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jerrold. I'm the bar manager of Jigger Pony in Singapore. A pleasure to be here today with Shirak, always charismatic guy.
Thank you, Jerrold. Hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, how did you get into bartending? I've always been meaning to ask you this question.
Right. So a little bit of myself. I'm a Singaporean, born and bred here. Story of how I got into bartending is was an accidental career. Started off as a part-time job just to earn some side cash for school, and just to get by in life, you know. Because I used to be a design student, and in design school we don't pay for textbooks, but we pay for, you know, buying materials to make models, printing your presentation boards, and yeah, all these are like quite a big expense every month. It's about easily hundreds of dollars every month or every 2 months, you know, depending on how intense the project is. So also back then I was playing in a band. I used to have a heavy metal rock band, and we were just funding ourselves through, you know, going for our practice sessions and creating our own, organizing our own shows. So all this also required some money. So my family is not very well to do, so much of my expense and it's all, you know, self-supported. So that's why I needed a job. My first job was in fact from Starbucks, working at Starbucks, you know, making coffee and talking to people, short 1 minute interactions, you know, at the cashier and at the coffee pass where you get a coffee. So actually that was where that I realized I used to be quite an introvert. Was really shy, not really confident around people. But that job kind of gave me that, how to say, that notion that, you know, one day I could be, maybe actually I could have that, I could be comfortable around people, right? I could actually not be that introvert that I was very uncomfortable being anyway. Because that gave me the opportunity. That job at Starbucks gave me the opportunity to really interact with people in a rather genuine way, very sincere way. It's not like it's not monotonous. It's quite real. So I kind of enjoyed it in a sense, you know. But that's that, you know. I left the job 10 months after just to focus on school a little bit. And then 2 years later, or I think 1.5 years later, that was when I kind of needed a job again, because that was some of going into the second and third year of school. So the expense was going higher and higher, you know. So found another job doing like a service wait stuff at a bar. It's not a big cocktail bar per se. Back in the days, it was quite one of the notable bars, and that was where kind of like that's my first foray into the F&B scene.
What was the name of the bar? Just out of curiosity.
It was called. It was not. Sorry. It's still called Loof. Like the bar still there.
Loof, I know it. Yeah, it's a great, beautiful place. Yeah.
Yes, it's noted. I mean, it's known as one of the first, or in fact, the first cocktail bars. Not cocktail, sorry. First rooftop bars in Singapore. Yeah, it's located right opposite Raffles Hotel. Yeah, so I remember going to school in the morning, finishing at 5, and then heading to work after, you know, 6 to midnight. The whole experience was, in fact, it kind of changed my life. You know, it left quite a big impact in my life because of the people that I meet, that I'm working with, and the customers that I meet, and the things that I'm selling. You know, I enjoy drinking. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have a small soft spot for a drink or two, right? But you know, being me young at 18, I have no idea what I was what was vodka, what was gin, what was Jager bomb, for example. I used to call it Jager bomb or mojito, stuff like that. This kind of thing that happens to us. So by working there, I kind of get a lot of this knowledge and insights about what I'm really serving, and that got me kind of curious and satisfied at the same time by satisfying that what am I drinking and what are you having. When customers are starting asking, oh, so what is this drink good, why is this, what can you recommend me, you feel that sense of I can do more than recommend you a Jack and Coke, so to say. So that was the initial spark that kind of made me enjoy my work, and to really have a team that, being in a team, working in nightlife is a bit like playing in a band or playing in a football team. Everybody is working in sync. You need the team, working in a team. In nightlife or in a bar or in a restaurant, even it's a bit like playing in a band or playing in a football team. Everyone is as important as everyone, and we support each other. And I kind of enjoyed that teamwork a lot. So that really made me enjoy the work at in a F&B team. So yeah, that was 10 years ago. I'm now 29. That was back about 18, 19 years old. Yeah, so that was how I got into even not even bartending yet, but just working in a bar. Right. And not to mention that I enjoyed the night hours. Being a night owl, I enjoy staying up to 3 a.m., 4 a.m. And
have you always been a night owl, or did it start with the job?
Always been a subtle night owl. Yeah, like not a big low night owl, but once I got to the job, I was like, damn, I like this 3 a.m. It's very peaceful. You get home
It's a
at
magic
night.
time.
Yeah, so it's just quiet and peaceful, and the whole world seems to be stopped, and it's just you. Yeah, so I kind of enjoyed that as well. And then came a time where, I'm personally, I'm quite a competitive person at heart. If someone else can do it, I feel like I can do it as well, and I want to do it, especially if I really like that particular topic, subject, or matter, so to say. So I kind of got a little bit more in love with the whole alcohol and beverage scene, or cocktails, so to say. So then one day came where one of the part-timers had an opportunity to move into the bar. So back then it was quite unheard of, because as part-timers you were not allowed to be a bartender.
I remember this experience, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, they would never let you touch the bar.
Yes. You either have to be a full-timer, or you have to kind of gain certain trust with them, with the team, for about 2 months before they can let you behind the bar. So it was quite unreal, and having this kind of opportunity kind of excited me more, that okay, if that person can do it, I want to do it too, man. Yeah, so that was what I told them, man. Like, if he can be in the bar, can I be in the bar too as well? I want to be a bartender as well. Yeah, I can try my hand at this. I promise I will.
Yes. And they said yes.
Not right away. Not right away. They were kind of considering for a while, and then a few months later, like somebody else left, like another full-timer left, and then thank God, I think that the other guy worked out pretty fine. Like, that's when they kind of got a trust that these part-timers are not as bad as we think. Yeah. So yeah, like I think 3 months later, I got the opportunity to be behind the bar. So yeah, I go to the bar. I started washing glasses, topping up all the ingredients, good one or two, before I started making some drinks. I remember my first drink was a mojito. That was like, wow, I'm good.
Did someone teach you how to make a mojito, or what did you do? I don't think we had Google at that time, did we? I mean, we did, but maybe not on our phones.
Yeah, so that was one of the drinks that was on our menu back then at Loof.
Yeah.
One of the best selling ones, in fact. So I guess that's why that was the first drink, because on a Friday night you could easily churn out 18 mojitos at one go. The check comes in and it's like 13 or 5 and 8, and then put all together it's 13 mojitos.
So how do you make 13 mojitos at one time? I'm really curious for people who wanna know.
Well, it helps you have if it helps you have more than if you have more than one bar station. We used to have
Yes.
two on a
Mm-hmm.
Friday night, so we'll just take 15-15.
Okay.
Yeah, 15-15 each. Put a lime. So it's more like a factory. The
Mm-hmm.
three bartenders working the station.
Yeah.
So one of us will put the limes in. The other
Yeah.
guy will start to bottle the limes.
Yeah.
Or rather, one guy put the limes, mint, sugar, and the other guy will start to So it's a constant.
So it's kind of like a factory. You put all the glasses there.
Yeah,
Everyone puts a
yeah,
lime.
yeah. And we take turns to do the next step.
Yeah.
Uh,
And all the shaking, I imagine what that's like for your body. It's just like
all the shaking. Yeah, I guess you just gotta get used to it, adapt to it. You know your limits. It's like going to a gym. You don't deadlift more than what you can do. Or
yes.
you be careful and try to exercise. You still have to take care of yourself in the long run. You see.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds amazing. And how did you start recommending people what to drink, or when did that come about? Was that at Loof as well, where you did your first experimentations?
Not really, man. Like back at Loof, it was still an age where
Mm-hmm.
people were just ordering off the menu. Bespoke was kind of unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
You would get a few recommendations, requests, and we just point it to whatever's on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't really much until like I moved to a new bar after that. So after that, I went to serve my national service.
Mm-hmm.
And post national service, I went to work in a bar that specializes in absinthe and craft cocktails. Yeah, so that was my. It's called Absinthe Artisans.
Absinthe
The bar is
artisans. It's not around
yeah,
anymore, eh?
not around anymore because
Yeah.
it's quite a niche product and a niche
Mm.
category of beverage. So I guess Singapore was not ready for it back then in 2014.
Yeah.
No, sorry, 2011, 2012.
Mhm.
11, sorry.
Mm.
Yeah, so that was also where I started to work in a bar that has, that was the start of the craft movement in Singapore, in fact, where a lot of these bars are opening, focusing on craft and bespoke cocktails.
Mhm.
So fresh ingredients made on the spot, a la minute, with a keen eye for details, techniques, making your own homemade ingredients.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that was the bar that I was working in. I was working under a manager who was kind of like my mentor as well. Yeah, so we were doing a lot of fresh fruit cocktails, serving absinthe by the traditional way with the sugar cube, the spoon, and then dripping water from the fountain. Yeah, I was there for a good 6 months, and I mean, although it seemed pretty short time, but I really absorbed a lot. I kind of always put myself like a sponge anytime and anywhere, absorbing a lot of information, a lot of knowledge. So always, I feel like the first 3 months of anything that I do is I really put in 101% just to really make sure that I understand the foundations and the basics of it. Yeah. So that was the bar that I first made a drink properly with every thought process on every step. When do I muddle this? How do I cut the fruit up properly? How do I chew the glass, and etc. etc.
Jerrold, if you don't mind me asking, I'm really curious. What is the process of creating a cocktail like that? If you could just talk me through the description, talk me through the steps.
For to create a cocktail, there are a few ways around it. Depends on what is the end goal you want to achieve, right?
Of course.
For a menu, or for a competition, or for I think on top of my head, there's always just two ways right now. Creating a cocktail for a competition or creating a cocktail for the menu, which is cases. When you do a drink for a menu, you need a variety. It depends on how many drinks you want to have on the menu. There are menus that have 10 drinks, and menus that have 27 drinks, and it has to cater to the size of your venue as well. You see, like the bigger the venue, the better it is to have variety.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, it's not more than 40, or you just go crazy selecting them.
Mm-hmm.
See, so when you have a menu and you need variety, you need to make sure that you have you kind of hit all the spots that people want to order. You don't want to have a drink that on a menu that nobody wants to have anyway,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's a number one waste of a real estate space on the menu. Okay, so when you have that's when you have your structure to have your what you want to create or what you need to create, right? So let's say if on the menu we need a gin drink, we need a vodka-based drink, we need a whiskey-based drink, we need a rum-based drink. So they kind of like categorize the sections for you. And let's say if you want to make a gin-based drink, do you want to make a drink that is spirit forward, or do you want to make a drink that is refreshing, or do you want to have both?
And what is the difference?
For gin-based drink, like you kind of have you can either have a spirit forward drink or a refreshing shaken up drink.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is that being spirit forward is a bit like drinking gin straight up, slightly diluted. It's very forward on the spirit.
We're saying like with the spirit forward drink, it's a lot more.
You taste more of the spirit first.
Okay.
It's a bit on the stronger side.
Less
whereas on your less dilution, it's just like it's a bit like a very intense and strong coffee or espresso shot. Yeah,
like an espresso shot. Yeah, that's a great way of explaining it. Beautiful.
And then whereas you can have a really shaken up drink that you kind of complement the flavors of the gin itself, and that makes you like that gives you like a latte or cappuccino, milk in just an analogy,
Yes, just adding a lot more layers to it. Mm-hmm.
Correct. So that's when you have your that already sets you a certain directive, right? And then you have to. For me, I have a method of making drinks where I look at it like a movie, or like a story. Right? Every movie or every story has a main character, which usually is your spirit. It's a sub character, which is a certain flavor, maybe basil and gin. And there's always the supporting characters, right? Those that are working behind in the scenes. Those are maybe say extra flavoring, maybe a bit of pepper, a bit of salt into your drink. And comes the techniques of it, like technicality part of it is whether you want to shake the drink up or do you want to blend it into a smoothie. What do you want to achieve? What kind of drink do you want to make? And that will define how you will get there. By blending or by shaking, by stirring down. And then comes the appearance of the drink, which is like every movie has a plot and a color setting of how the scene looks, right? So that's the kind of like the way the drink looks. In fact, the garnishes, you want to put a mint leaf, do you want to put a basil, do you want to put whatever, what does it how does the garnish support your drink and your story, right? And then there is also a big chunk of ice dilutes at a different rate. So what do you want to achieve in your drink? Then there's a naming of the drink. Every movie has a name. Right. So that's kind of like my framework or my approach to making your drinks. I always try to keep it to 3 ingredients or 3 flavors. It maybe have more than it maybe have more than 3 ingredients, but always to 3. Holy Trinity. So the more you add, the more complicated it gets. So I always try to keep it simple. I want to taste every 3 ingredients that I explain on the menu. So if I say there's gin, there's basil, and there's lemon, I make sure that you can taste gin, basil, and lemon. Simple as that. Yeah. So yeah, that's how we that's how I kind of create drinks. The more geeky part of it comes when what else can you do with your ingredients? How else can you process basil? When you have lemon, you need to have sugar, right? So how can you incorporate all this in a different way or different manner? Yeah. So that's about
amazing.
it.
I've never heard anyone explain it like that. I love your analogies. Pardon?
This is the general like this is the tip of the iceberg to how to make a drink.
Oh, for sure. But I love it because you
Yeah.
said the movie analogy, right? It's something that's very interesting. And I like how you said that you want to limit it down to maybe 3 or 4 simple ingredients. And sometimes less is more. And then you actually taste these ingredients a lot better. And I think the outcome also comes out a lot more interesting and more flavorful. I've been actually changing my cooking style. And I used to use like maybe 10,
Mhm.
15 different ingredients. Now I try to minimize it as well. And I realize it
Yeah.
makes such a big difference, especially even in food, just to keep it a bit more simple.
Yeah.
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 Mm.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Exactly. I think the most I'll go up is 5 ingredients or 5 flavors.
Hmm. And do
Yeah.
you have I'm really curious, but I gotta ask this, man. Like, has there been a recipe that you thought this would 100% work, but it didn't? And the opposite, of
Uh,
course.
at this, I guess it happened in the first drink that I made, or in the first year of making drinks.
Hmm.
That's when you are still training your flavor profile in your own mind. Like you have
Hmm.
always have need to build a mind map of flavors in your mind. Um, so yeah, I mean, like the first few drinks that I made was always not what I wanted or what I expected. But I mean, these days, 90% of the time it works.
Hmm.
You just need to tweak around the proportions.
Hmm.
Um, of course, there are always 10% where it does not work.
Of
Yeah, but
course.
that's when you learn. You see, that's when you learn from. You understand that certain factors of this ingredient doesn't work well with certain factors of the other ingredient. Yeah. So I'll say it's a 90%, 10%
That's really hard,
these
mate.
days.
Yeah, that's very good.
I used to be the other way around. Yeah.
I would imagine. Yeah, we all start that way. Yeah. And what about, to ask the question in reverse, right? Has there something that you thought this would never work, but it actually did?
Yes, of course. Like, I mean, I've never tried it myself personally, but one of the ways that we make new drinks or make new flavor pairing is that just go out and try different things, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I never knew that mango and durian would work together. I never even thought about it once before, but I had it in a dessert in a local hawker center. Man, it was phenomenal, man. You know,
Mango and durian.
so yeah, mango and durian and
Wow.
shaved ice. So
Wow.
that's a
Is that like
it's
an
like
ice
ice
kacang?
kacang style,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Like yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Nice.
it's very yeah. The flavors work so well together, and these are the times that where you no matter where you go, you don't have to even pay $400 for a fine dining to learn about flavors. You can just go to the $5 hawker center street side store to really learn about flavors, because that's where I guess that's the best place to learn. Also, that's a kind of like a hidden gem, I
Hmm.
would say, or rather, it's a gem that is right in your face, but where you can get to taste really good fresh ingredients at a really affordable price.
Hmm.
Not even in Singapore. Anywhere you go in Thailand, in Europe, there's always somewhere, or there's always something everywhere that excites, or different people have different cultures, and that's when I mean, I'm a Singaporean. I will never know what Swedish people grew up on,
Hmm.
unless I immerse myself in their culture. And every culture has a different way of cooking fish. For
Hmm.
example, uh, my grandma is Teochew, so we have a Teochew way of cooking fish. But the Mediterraneans have their own way of cooking fish as well.
And what is the Teochew way of cooking
Both are
fish?
equally amazing. You see, so really just opening up yourself to. Usually steam or fried.
Uh-huh.
Very simple. Teochews were poor before. Like
Hmm.
we came from a poor background. We were all peasants. So the cooking styles are always making use of just very basic ingredients: garlic, ginger, even cooking porridge, which
Hmm.
is just cooking rice with a lot of more water, just to save on the rice because we couldn't afford rice.
Hmm.
Not me, but our ancestors couldn't afford rice, so they put more water. They enjoy more water, makes them feel full more. So that's how Teochew porridge came about. Um, and a lot of the dishes are also very simply prepared, or also using preserved ingredients. These are the Teochew way, very simple. Just because there's not much not a lot more ingredients. You see, but that's coincidentally that's the best way to bring out certain flavors as well. It's very comforting food. The Teochew way of cooking.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that maybe out there in the shops there's a lot of there's a lot of sodium in the food, but if home cooked Teochew dishes are always quite clean, quite simple. And it's very basic. You see, so that's the Teochew style.
Very nice, but it reminds me also of if you talk to an Italian about real Italian cooking, it's always very simple, very fresh, very natural, and I guess simplicity is always the key, right? You always hear this word when it comes to really good food. And it's the same thing with drinks.
Also same. It's the same principle. So I guess I kind of brought my design background into the making a cocktail as well. Like in design, I'm not sure if you heard of the term less is more. God is in the details.
I'm learning that every day.
Yeah. So also in design school, we learn about conceptual design, narrative design. How if you go through a space, there's a spatial experience, and how do you explain this into the spatial experience? We talk about concepts, stories. So these are the things that I brought over to. These are the basis of the foundation that I have, and I brought over to making cocktails as well. And in general, the whole experience of being in the bar. So that's kind of like my story.
That's beautiful, mate. Really, wow. And I still have a few questions to ask, if you don't mind. Do you have a little bit more time?
I do. I have the.
Okay. I'm just going to go through my list to make sure, one thing I really wanted to ask you was, so how do you create an experience for someone coming to your bar?
Right. Yeah. How do you create an experience for someone coming to your bar? You see, the whole experience of, I believe very strongly. Let's rewind back a bit, right, to the whole background of experience. Okay. I think in this day and age, we've kind of forgotten that everything we do is a transaction or a service transaction. All right. It doesn't matter which industry you're in. It doesn't matter which job you're doing. Every job has a function that has a bigger outcome, right? Even if you're making shoes, someone's going to wear the shoe, right? Someone's going to buy the shoe, right? You are doing something for somebody, right? So I feel that with all these advancements, into a lot of artificial AI based transaction, right? If you you can get a drink off a vending machine, you can get your credit card waived through a automated phone call, right? So these are all service, right? Service is dead, when I say service is dead, it means that service is a necessity or necessary form of transaction between anybody, right? Or any form of business, right? But when we talk about hospitality, that's a different ball game already. Like hospitality is where the human factor comes in. It does something that your vending machine can't do, right? When you go to a convenience store or 7-Eleven, it still has a different feeling than you go to a vending machine, right? If you have a bad day and you buy a drink off a vending machine, it's a different story when you go to, or different energy as when you go to a convenience store to get your drink. You get to interact with someone, right? That person behind the cashier could make or break, not really make or break, but he could be the one that could lift your spirits up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's when that's where the hospitality part comes in for me. It's very important because it doesn't just starts from the moment you enter the door of the bar at Jigger Pony. All right, it starts when you even hear about Jigger Pony, right? There are two ways of learning about, or there are a few ways, right? But there are two ways. There are two main ways, which is one is word of mouth from your friends, which is usually the best recommendation, right? Or the other way is to Google it, reading reviews online, right? If we weight these two recommendations or reviews, would you trust someone that you don't know on the internet by the name of John2526 leaving a review on a bar, or would you trust your friend Jonathan, we'll say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we always trust our friend's recommendation more, and we'll weigh that friend's recommendation more, because if we go to a place, we would pin the blame on Jonathan more heavily than John2525 on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
right? So these are the things that even before you reach the bar, there's already the experience, right? And then it comes to the point where you make a phone call or drop a text or make a reservation to the bar. That is also the start of an experience, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like picking up the phone call and getting your reservation in, making sure that we give them the best seats available for the night. But especially on a Friday night, like everyone wants to come out, everyone wants to have a seat. So how do you best manage that? We can't definitely please everyone, but how do we make sure that we want to please everyone, you know? So the whole experience, like, it's a very simple. In fact, it's actually very, very simple. You know, it's just about making everyone feel like a friend, and you want to make everybody happy. You know, I always make sure that I try to make everyone happier. Or sorry, I try to make the people who comes to Jigger Pony leave happier than they were before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just a slight bit happy. It's okay. You know, people come to bars for a reason. These days, prices of going out is not cheap anymore, but we can still get, pardon me, we can still get access to cheaper products in the supermarkets, in the liquor store, just throw a nice party at our own homes. You know, it's comfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people still choose to come out. Just why? You know, just because that it's a very simple reason that people wants to be celebrating something with a group of friends in a nice atmosphere. You know, nobody wants to go to a bar that does not treat you like a person,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's the whole. Like, it comes down to being kind, being human to each other, um, treating each other with respect. You know, these are the key points that I kind of instill in, or I kind of um, share with the team. Like, how do you approach customers, right? Of course, there are mean customers. There are not so nice ones, and that's just also 10% of the time. But 90% of the time, customers or people are still pretty nice. But that still doesn't stop you from being the best version of yourself to give them the best experience. You see, like, the meaner they are, the best. The more I try to make them, you know, the more I try to give them a better experience. You see,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Can I
doesn't hurt
ask
to
you
be.
for an example of
Yeah.
a time where you had a customer that was very challenging or difficult? How did
Yeah.
you manage to kind of turn them around or make the experience better for the both of you?
Right. So it's actually quite common to face such customers.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, to be honest, you know. But the way to turn that around is the moment you let it get to you, you already lose half the battle, right?
Mm-hmm.
The best way is just to not let it. Of course, yeah, not let it get to you. Number one, and just to be a bigger person. You see, who knows, that person may be having a really rough day at work, lost his job, girlfriend left him, step into dog shit, really need a drink, come to the bar, fuck the world. Doesn't mean that, I mean, if you were to be, if you're gonna keep that, if you are gonna be the one that keeps that snowball running, then it's gonna be even more detrimental, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if you are the one that stops that snowball, by just being that being that friend for that someone at a point of time, then it's a it will be a game changing experience, right? But yeah, back to the experience. Let me think of something. These days I don't really remember a lot of all these experience now because
That's a good sign.
yeah,
It's a good sign.
yeah, it's happening every night. I guess I can't name an experience.
Don't worry about it, mate. I think you covered the question beautifully. I couldn't have asked for a better answer.
Yeah, but in general, if I can average out all these experiences, customer comes in, they're a bit grumpy, had a bad day, sat down, doesn't want to sit at the bar, want to sit at the table, doesn't want to really have a conversation. It's okay, all right. I get you. What do you want to have a drink? Get you some food. I mean, just try to keep an eye on that person. What is he doing? What he or she is doing. Find a way to have a common topic if possible. Otherwise, just maintain status quo of giving him what he wants, what she wants, a little bit extra. Sometimes I try to, if I see someone really down, I'll bring a bit of dessert. Nobody says no to dessert when they are not in a good mood, right? Or even a small token of something
Yes.
sweet that always brings it, right?
Yes.
Even 2 shots, one for you, one for me, right? Not because of you having a bad day, but thanks for coming down. Thanks for spending your evening here. Just a little something like that's probably what you're giving is probably about what $2 or even less, maybe $5. But what you get in return is that this person is maybe 50% or 90% that this person will be in a better mood. So it just take that small gesture of goodwill to really make somebody's day better.
That's perfect, mate. That's a really beautiful answer. Yeah. Wow. And okay, so I think we're really hitting close to like our mode. So I wanted to ask you just a few questions just to wrap things up. What do you think it takes to create a successful bar?
To be honest, I can't really answer that in my position because I don't own any business. I am only
from your perspective. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think are the ingredients? Maybe let's say, what are the ingredients of a successful bar that you feel?
Yeah, I refer a lot of these to. If you look at Apple, Apple is a very great example because if you don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. If I could quote Simon Sinek, who is a great coach on this leadership and the understanding the why of doing what you're doing. I think the whole what do you want to do what do you want to achieve in your business? You see, it could be you could open a bar, you could open a cafe, but you have to know why you are doing this. The customers have to understand why you are doing what you're doing, right? Rather than what you're just focusing on what you're doing. Right? Let me put a very good example is that we create a bar. Why do you want to create or start a bar? Do you want to sell drinks to people and make money, or do you want to make people happy? So as I was saying, like, why do you want to create a bar? Why do you want to start a bar business? Do you want to sell drinks and make some money, or do you want to make people happy by selling them drinks and with that making some money? Right? I mean, you have to make money, right? Any business has to be every business is a money making transaction, right? But what do you want in return for that? Do you want to just earn money, sell drinks, or do you want to create that human connection and make people happy? Like I said, I always tell people that I'm not in the drinks business. To be honest, I'm in a people business, right? I just happen to be selling drinks, and like I mean, it helps that drinks lubricate and make people feel better, feel ecstatic and all. But yeah, like just think of the end, the bigger picture, I guess. Like, what do you want to achieve with what you're doing in your form of business? It could be selling, I don't know, you could be selling handphone covers for your business as well. Like, but you could still make very happy customers, right? You keep selling anything, right? But the end goal is really to make people happy when they enter your shop. I remember going to I think one of the reasons why I mentioned handphone cover shop is that I had a really good experience once, amongst all the bad ones, going to a handphone cover shop where you feel like the owner is just trying to rip you off, selling you the most expensive case, but it break after a week kind of thing. Yeah, but I went to a shop where I genuinely felt that the owner wants to get me the best cover. Doesn't matter what price it is. Not sales driven. Also, that's what we do at Jigger Pony. We're not sales driven. That kind of motivates a more genuine human connection and hospitality as well. So yeah, like I think one of the best ways is to make customers feel like you're on their side and that you are their friend, right? Did I drift away too much from the question?
No, I think it's perfect. I love what you said about you and the people business, and you just happen to be selling drinks. That's really, mate. It's gold. I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah. Joel, just to wrap things up, we've got 3 more last questions. I promise I will try not to extend it. And I try to leave them a little bit abstract. What I wanted to ask you is, and you can answer this any way you like.
Okay.
What do you believe in?
What do you believe in?
Yeah.
What's my why? You're asking me, right? What is my why?
You can answer it any way you like it. I always just drop it like it's hot, and then.
Drop it like it's hot, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I believe in, Jerrod? I believe that we are here for a reason, right? And we have the power to. Do you want me to make it in a short sentence or any way I want it, right? Drop it like it's hot. So I was saying, like, I think we have the power to make a change or make a difference. And that difference, it depends on what you want as well. Like, you want to make a good difference, or do you want to make a bad difference to somebody else's life? You see, we all have this power. And I believe in a lot of things, man. And for me personally, I want to make people's life better, be it people who working with me or people that I see at the bar or anyone at the streets. It doesn't help. It doesn't harm to stop for a second or two to really help someone out on the streets. Yeah, I believe in the greater good, I guess.
And what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Music, of course. Happy people. Yeah. And what makes me happy? Music, happy people. Yeah, I think I just like to see that people, or even at least the people that I work with, are doing better every day. They're happy doing what they're doing. I don't have to be, a glorified manager or anything, but as long as I've made an impact in somebody's life, I'm happy. I'm not a manager I'm not someone who wants to be in a spotlight for anything, but I would like to be that catalyst for change for someone, like. I remember that there are a few times in my life where I've made a certain impact on someone's life. It turned out well, but but at the point of the time, it was not the best. It was a very what do you call that? It's very. Well, I'm a bit old school, so sometimes the way I teach is a bit on the harsher side, or on the, the harsh side. For some, thankfully for most of them, it turned out well, and they remember it. I think I was a bit lucky on that. Like sometimes it turns out as a memorable wake up call for them, when it could turn out really sour. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but thankfully most of it, I think all of it was, maybe it was one or two that are not too fruitful. But
it's good.
Yeah,
You kind of clean out, right, what doesn't work, and then you stick with what does. Too many things sometimes end up spoiling the whole pot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. And one last question, Jerrold. Okay, actually, two last ones. The first one is, if you could send a message out to millions of people out there, what would it be? What would you tell them?
Millions of people.
To anyone, maybe one person, or it could be a million. It doesn't matter.
Right. Let me quote from a movie.
Please.
Freddie Mercury's that. Good thoughts, good deeds.
Good thoughts, good deeds. I love it. Simple and beautiful. And if people want to find you, where can they reach you? Where can they find you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on social media, Instagram and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
JerroldKhoo.
Okay. And do you mind if I put a link at the bottom?
No worries, man. Go ahead.
Awesome.
Yeah. And if you're in Singapore, just drop by Jigger Pony. It's located in the Mara Hotel.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Awesome. Wow. Jerrold, I just want to say thank you very, very much for being on the show, and I hope you had a good time. And maybe one day we'll do a part 2, if you don't mind, to ask a little bit more about how to create talk a little bit more about bartending. But I love how we kind of segued into a lot of very personal topics, even for myself. I love what you said about how you're into the people business and you just happen to be selling drinks, and the idea of, you can sell drinks and make some money, or you can create experiences. I think that's there's a lot of golden nuggets in the show. I love it. So thank you very, very much. It was, for me, just spellbinding.
Lovely,
so guys, just to wrap this up, I just want to say thank you very much, Jerrold Khoo, right over here. If you're ever in Singapore, go to the Amara Hotel and look for this beautiful man and ask him to make you something dazzling, And
mojito.
So, order a mojito from this guy. And guys, look forward to seeing you on the next episode. If you like this, share it, subscribe, enjoy it. The most important thing is have a big smile on your face and have a drink for you. See you in the next episode, guys.